So, this week's project. This is a piece of, I believe it's pear wood. One of the farmers who I look after his orchards through pest control was pulling out some trees, and I asked him if I could have some of the wood rather than obviously throwing it away and burning it. So he agreed that as long as I go down and cut it up, I could have it. So this was cut, I don't know, it must be middle of 2018. So what I thought I would do, it's a bit, well, it's starting to rot in the middle there. Obviously that's why they've pulled them out, because they've got a bit of disease on them. And there's a bit of worm in it as well. So what's going to be like when we turn it, I don't know. But what I was thinking was like a flute shaped, whether it be pot, bowl, vase, whatever. But first thing I want to do is get the bark cleaned off of it, or get it to round, rough round, and see what's like underneath. I may try and leave a little bit on this edge to give it a bit of a natural look, and then flute it out to the bottom. But I need to square the ends up, because as you can see where I cut it with the chainsaw, it's not cut very square. So we'll get this top end squared up first, and the bottom, and then we'll see how we go. So let's get the roughing gouge out and get it roughly roughed out, and see how we go from there. So it's going to be a bit of suck and see on this project. So I have the shape I want, which is like a scalloped vase, goblet, whatever you want to call it. I've sanded that back down to 400 grit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this up with a brass brush. Not too much, because I want, like, you've got bits of fungus and that on it. I want to try and keep some of those. So basically just to get the dirt and dust out of it. And then I'm going to sand and seal that. So I'm going to use this little soft wire brush, just basically to clean all the dirt and debris out, any loose stuff, before I sand and seal it. Like I say, it's not going to be nothing major, just enough to get rid of the loose stuff, because I want to keep some of the natural effect of it. So like I say, you got the fungus in there and a few wormholes in that, so I want to try and keep some of the natural, and hopefully that'll look pretty groovy, but we'll see. Nice, lovely grain in there, absolutely stunning. I'm tempted with putting a bit of embellishing wax over the grain, but I don't want to lose that glorious pattern in there, so I'm a bit unsure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move and start turning the middle out, and then I want to try and keep the same sort of fluted shape from the middle out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bore the middle out, because we've got this pucky bit here. I think I'm going to bore the middle out with a forcener bit, a large forcener bit, to get rid of a lot of it, and then that'll make it a little bit easier to turn out. So I'll move the camera, and then we'll crack on with that. So I've gone as deep as I can go with the forcener bit, which is that, you can see it, can you? Where can we see it? That deep. So that leaves me around about just over an inch off the bottom. But obviously I need to part the bottom to finish the piece anyway, so that's not going to be too bad. So what I've got to try and do now is clean this out without getting too much shrapnel come out. This is quite soft and pucky, so that shouldn't take a lot of turning out, I don't think. But we'll give it a go and go gentle.
Many hours later.
Well, we got there eventually. I'll turn this around so you can see. I forgot I got a Simon Hope hollowing tool with a 6mm carbide tip on the end of it, and I forgot I got it, to be honest. I had it, I don't know, must have bought it October time last year, and I was wondering how I was going to get in there, because with the scraper blade is not quite long enough, so I kept getting catches. I really need a bigger, chunkier scraper, because it kept because they couldn't get the tool rest in far enough. I kept getting grabs, and I was wondering how I was going to finish it off, and I thought I'm going to have to leave it at that depth, and then I realised I got the Simon Hope hollowing tool, so I broke that out, and it seemed to work really well. It's actually a really good piece of kit, with that little tiny carbine tip, played at a slight angle. Like on Simon Hope's video, he says to have the carbine so it's at a slight angle, so you're not going in like that, you're going at an angle, and it seems to work really well, and it leaves a nice finish as well. So what I've done now, obviously we've got a depth, we've got a slight taper in there. I've sanded it out to 320 grit. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to soak it in sand and sealer, and try and get it finished. It's a little bit out of tree where it's been banged around in the chuck, but I don't know whether to try and true the outside up or not, because as you can see in places it's really thin and I don't want to break through. It's not very thick as it is. It's perhaps, as you can hear, it's not very thick. It's perhaps 3 or 4 mil in places, so I don't really want to go much thinner than that. So I think I will leave it as it is and then just part it off at the bottom. So now let's get this soaked in sand and sealer and see how it comes up. Alright, so let's give that a couple of minutes to dry, and well, not dry but soaking a little bit, and then we'll polish it off. Yeah, I think that it just enhances the grain a little bit, make it look so you can see the grain a little bit better. It's turned out quite nice actually, I like that. It's got some nice patterns in there. Right, so I've decided I'm going to leave this natural. Obviously we're going to part it off anyway. Got a couple of little cracks in there. They're not on the inside, so I'm hoping that when we part it off we're not going to catch, they're not going to split up, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to give this a coat of friction polish. Just get the air gun, blow all that crud out of there. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this coat of friction polish now to give it a bit of a shine. I'm not really going to do anything on this part because it's got a bit of a satin finish to it, which is quite nice actually, and obviously that then blends into the inside. Got a little bit of a chip out there, but I can't really do a lot about that now. I did put a bit of sand and sealer in it just to toughen up a little bit, but it's a little bit soft in places. So yeah, so we'll give this some friction polish and see how it comes up. Oh, I think that'll do. So we've got a nice shine on it now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for making it to the end. There may be a couple of videos down below that you might be interested in. If you do, pop over and check them out. Also, if you're a subscriber to the channel, then thank you very much for your continuous support. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, then pop over and click this link here to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell notification to be notified for all my latest uploads. So anyway guys, take care, speak to you soon.